So if you guys are attending this illustration or this webinar, you guys already are pretty familiar with the illustration software. Just if you're not, I'm going to show you guys more about it. Again, this right here, this box right here is going to be your recent cases. So if you saved them, you can see it here. It's going to be only the recent 3 that you've been working on. You'll see it here. And if you don't see it here, you guys can go to case list and you can find it in your case file, okay? We're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to do the Flex Life 2, just because most of the time IULs would be the best type of product to do for income building or cash accumulation, I'm sorry. All right, so here we go, new illustration. We can choose what state we're doing it in. I'm here in Texas, so let's change it to Texas. And here you see product type. You can do index universal life, or you can just, the product selections are going to be right here. Sales concepts. I never really change these unless, I never use education funding. I'll just manually solve for education. And supplemental retirement, I'll just solve for retirement. I won't use those sales concepts. The only other sales concept besides basic illustration I would use is executive bonus. And that's if there's like a double bonus or a double bonus or single bonus for executive bonuses. All right, so from there, let's do the Flex Life 2. That's going to be our flagship product. We'll just choose that right now. Let it load. All right, so here we do client information. This is a little more basic. We can just type in some kind of information. We can just do it on me right now. All right, actually, let's do it on my younger brother. We're gonna go over some of the terms and then also show how to distribute income. All right, so Alex is now, I'll put his birthday in. All right, so he's a 2000 baby, 18 years old. 18, you can be verified standard or less. You can't get above verified standard. All right, so here we put in all his client information. We can go to death benefit and funding. All right, so here we have different solve types. So when we say minimum death benefit max cash value, it's this button right here. That's when you want to maximize cash value. So simply means we're minimizing that initial face amount, that initial death benefit, in order for our monies to go more towards cash accumulation rather than the cost of insurance. All right, and then there's based on target premium. So face amount solve type, we can do based on target premium. That means you give us a premium amount and we'll solve for the target face amount. Target really doesn't mean anything to your clients. It's really more for the agent. You guys are always commissioned off of the target premium. All right, so from there, we can either do target premium or minimum death benefit max cash value. And there's a few other options that we could choose. If we go back to none, instead of specify amount, we can either do based on minimum premium or based on cash value. Based on minimum premium, that means whatever premium amount you gave us or you specified, we're going to solve for a face amount with that premium as the minimum premium. Based on cash value, what we do there is you give us a premium amount, you specify a premium amount, and we solve for the maximum face amount possible to last all the way to age 120, okay? There's a question about guideline single premium without having the policy MEC or lapse. We're going to get into that. All right, so we'll get there. We'll get there. All right, and then if we take a look down, there's death benefit options. There's different types. There's A and B. Okay, there's level and then there's increasing. Let's talk about the level first. Okay, level means that your face amount, the death benefit is going to stay level. If you specify $200,000, the face amount is going to stay $200,000 throughout the policy until the cash value accumulates so high that it exceeds the face amount. Then the face amount will start growing, or the death benefit will start growing as well. If we were to do increasing, which is B, if we did increasing, that means whatever the initial face amount was or whatever that initial death benefit was, it continuously increases every year. And it will increase by the amount of whatever the cash surrender value is. So if we take a look at the debt, if we started out with a $200,000 death benefit, 5 years down the line, you put in about, or let's say 10 years down the line, you no longer have a surrender cost. You put in about, let's say $45,000. All right. So now if we did increasing, your death benefit at year 10 will now be $245,000. You've added on top of your death benefit $45,000. That's what increasing means. Simply, increasing means just your death benefit grows at the same amount as your surrender value. Whatever the cash value is will be added on top of the death benefit. Okay. If we wanted to do minimum death benefit max cash value, all right, let's say we're solving for college funding for Alex. He's already 18, so it's a little late for him to start saving for college. So what he's going to do is he's actually going to take out college loans, tuition loans, and then just pay it off when he wants to when he does graduate. He'll just take a single loan out on his policy and pay off his tuition loan. Okay, so he doesn't care too much about the face amount. So we're going to do minimum death benefit max cash value. He doesn't care. He's a little younger, so he doesn't really have too much expenses to take care of if he were to pass away. And then we can leave it on increasing. Increasing will allow you to get a lower face amount when you're doing a minimum death benefit max cash value. It allows you to get a lower face amount initially than if you were to do level. Okay. So we're going to leave it at increasing. We're going to specify the premium. Okay. So anytime we're doing a illustration, it's kind of like an algebra equation. If you have A, you could solve for, if you have X, you could solve for Y. If you have Y, you could solve for X. So if we have the premium, we can solve for the face amount. If we have the face amount, we can solve for the premium needed. Okay, so let's say he needs to catch up because he's starting a little late. So he's going to do, let's say, $1,000 a month. Okay, that's pretty high for an 18-year-old. But that's going to be funded by his parents anyways. All right, so we're doing increasing, and we see it's at $1,000 a month. All right, so let me show you guys what increasing in level will have an effect on the policy. So if we go to quick view, $1,000 a month will buy him $811,000 in death benefit. All right, that's increasing. If we were to go back and do level, we'll see that the death benefit actually jumps up. Now, $1,000 a month at age 18 will buy him $2 million in death benefit. You see how that face amount has increased drastically. That means the cost of insurance in this first year is going to be extremely high compared to what the $811 was. Okay, so we can leave it at $811 by doing increasing. And then we can, let's say he wanted to show income when he graduates. Let's say he graduates in year 22. So he wants to stop funding at age 21. So we do 1-A21. Again, that A stands for age. And then we can go down, we can go to distribution, and we can solve for income. Okay, and it's automatically changing it to A22. We're going to change it to A22 to A22. We only want to see the max we can take out in that 1 year. And we can go to, and then we want to start funding it again after that year. Okay, so we'll do 1,000, A23 to M. Okay, so he's still funding it after he's pulling out income. So let's see what that looks like. Okay, so this is the quick view. What we could see is after 4 years of college, he's put in this much. He's taken out tuition loans. So then at the end of graduation, he can pull out this full amount to fully pay off his loan. Okay. All right. So that's one way we can show distribution. we can go more into distributions. I want to go more into the language that we're using, okay? So we can clear everything out. Let's just start all over. Okay. All right, so we're starting all over. We went over what the language was for the face amount. Let's go over for the language for the premiums. Okay. So first is the first year lump sum. So if your client wanted to include a lump sum, you could. It'll be in this section. Premium modes. There's different modes that you can do. There's annual, semi-annual, quarterly, or monthly. And then you can apply term conversion if there's a term conversion credit. All right. And then the premium solve types, the protection focus, this button right here. This protection focus is simply saying if we specified a face amount, which we did, right now we just cleared it, so it's at $100,000 starting out. Protection focus is going to the software is going to solve for a premium, the minimal premium to make sure that $100,000 will be covered for Alex all the way to age 120. Okay, so this is protection focus. If we go to quick view, we'll see what the amount is. So the amount is $518 of premium each year is the minimum to keep this policy in force all the way throughout. We see that it goes all the way to 120. You see that 120 right here. All right. So if he's paying $518, that's all he needs to make sure this policy goes all the way through. All right. Retirement focus. I never really touched this. I'd rather just solve for retirement. It's a lot more simple. And the retirement focus, it gives you a what if scenario. It's not always going to align with what your client is looking for. Okay. So if we go back to none, there's different premium types we could do. We can do target premium, which is what it's defaulted at. Target premium is typically the middle ground between minimum premium and guideline annual premium. And while we're on that case, we can talk about what guideline annual premium is. Guideline annual premium is the max you could pay annually every single year without the policy becoming a MEC. Okay, so if you pay more than the guideline annual premium in 1 year, later down the line, somewhere along your policy years, you're going to have to reduce those premiums. Because if you paid more than it 1 year and you continuously pay guideline annual the years after, you're going to MEC the policy. So in order to prevent the MEC, you have to pay less in 1 year later on down the line. All right. So guideline single premium, let's get into that. Guideline single premium is the max you could pay in either 11 years or in the first 5 years. It really depends on your death benefit option. If you were to do a level death benefit, the guideline single premium would be the max you can put into your policy for the first 10, 11 years. And then if you were to do an increasing death benefit option, the guideline single premium will be the max you can put in the first 5 years. Okay. And we'll take a look at it. We can just actually leave this policy the way it is and go to quick view and I can explain to you what the premium amounts are. All right. So again, 521 is just on the protection focus or the target premium. I'm sorry. So we see here the initial face amount is $100,000. We see that the policy is not lapsing. You never want the policy to lapse unless the client says so. The MEC premium is the one next to that. You don't want it to MEC. You don't want the policy to MEC unless the client tells you so, that they don't care that the policy MEC. When we say the policy becomes a MEC, we're saying that it becomes a modified endowment contract. So that means that any of your gains will be taxable, will be a taxable event. All right. It just simply means that Uncle Sam is now looking at your life insurance policy as more of an investment vehicle rather than a life insurance policy. So they're going to want their share of their piece of the pie as well. All right. Modal premium, that's just simply telling you what your client is paying. Premium mode is what they're paying, how they're paying it. right now we show it monthly. You can do annually, semi-annually, quarterly, or monthly. So here we see the minimum premium amount. This is a minimum premium that the client can pay to start this policy. All right, so they have to pay this amount to start the policy. Target premium, again, this is what you guys are going to be commissioned off of. The MEC premium, this is the max you can pay in any single year. If you pay more than $18.52, then your policy immediately becomes a MEC, and you don't want that. So you don't want your client to pay more than the MEC premium. Guideline single premium is the max. This was the max I was saying that you could pay every single year. If you paid, let's say, $700 in 1 year, later down the line, you will not be able to pay $682 anymore. It'll probably be $650 or something. You will have to reduce it because you overfunded it a little bit. Again, guideline single premium is right here. We did level death benefit, so this is the max they can pay in the first 11 years. Okay. And again, you see that MEC premium is above guideline single level premium. So you could pay $700-800 a year, but because it's under the MEC premium. So you're not going to immediately MEC the policy, but if you continuously paid $800 a month or a year, you're going to hit the MEC eventually. There's a question, does the protection focus guarantee the client the policy will not lapse? No, it does not guarantee it. It just solves for an amount based off of what the market is projected to perform like. We'll figure out an amount that will most likely keep the policy in force, but again, it's not guaranteed. That's really just on the market, and hopefully the market keeps up. But we don't see the market going bad anytime soon to where your policy will lapse. If you were doing protection focus, it'll probably stay all the way through. Can you ever use the guideline single without having a policy MEC or lapse? No. There was a question, if you were to pay guideline single, would it ever not MEC? No. Because the guideline single premium you see here, it's more than the MEC premium. If you paid this in a single year, which you could do, it'll become a MEC immediately though, because it's over the MEC premium. This is the max you can pay before it becomes a MEC. All right, so let's get into it. All right, and then let's go down to distributions. Let's go over some more terms on distributions. There's different types of distributions you can do. You can do solve for income, or you can do lifetime income benefit rider. Okay, so the lifetime income benefit rider is a rider that is available on all policies. And if the client decides to use the lifetime income benefit rider, we'll take a look at their policy, their value in that policy, and we'll make an offer to the client that we guarantee that we have to stick by. That we guarantee that the policy will never lapse and that you get this amount for the rest of your life every single year. That's going to be if you use the lifetime income benefit rider. If you did solve for income, then we'll look for an income that will, according to what the illustration shows, according to the values and according to the market and what we think the market's going to perform like, we're going to offer you an amount that you can take out every year. And according to the illustration software, your policy will not become a MEC, but by doing the solve for income, we don't guarantee that the policy won't MEC. Okay, so if the market does horrible, and you did the solve for income, then it's possible that your policy does become a lapse. I'm sorry, not a MEC, but a lapse. With the LIBOR, the lifetime income benefit rider, your policy will never lapse. Okay, so if you were to choose to use the lifetime income benefit rider, it is a smaller amount compared to the solve for income amount, but again, it's guaranteed, so your policy does not lapse. Okay, so we went through, let's go over riders now. we can go through the riders. If you guys don't know what the terms of the riders are, there's multiple riders that you could add to a policy. Now, that's up to your client and which rider they want to use. And if they have questions about the riders, you can simply just hyperlink it, click on it, and it'll tell you exactly what each rider is. Okay, it'll tell you each rider, the specifications, and who's qualified and who's not qualified to use those riders. All right. There was a question, do you have to turn on LIBOR at the time of application? No. That is going to be decided at the time of retirement. The LIBOR will automatically be on all policies. It will automatically be on all policies. So it's not going to come at a cost just to be on the policy. Now, there will be a charge if you decide to use it. And that's why the amount is going to be lower than if you were to just do a solve for income. All right, so let's start all over. We went through all the terms and the language. So let's show how to do distribution. Would you guys rather, let's do a juvenile and solving for college funding, okay? So we're gonna do new illustration. We can do Texas. We can do Flex Life 2. And let's say this is a newborn baby, okay? So it's brand new baby. We can just name him Andy, and then we can do Williams. All right. He's 0 years old, so he's automatically standard. All right. And we can go to death benefit and funding. All right. So for someone like this case, a baby does not need to have much insurance coverage, so they really don't care at all for their death benefit. So what we can do is we want to do minimum death benefit max cash value. We want to do increasing because we don't want a high face amount initially. Okay. And then let's say that the parents like to pay monthly. And we see that there's red X's. We see a red X here and we see a red X here. All right. And we also see an X here. That doesn't mean that we have to start the illustration over again, okay? Just hover your mouse over it and read what it says, and let's see what it says. The selected premium amount option is not valid with the face solve. Either premium amount or face amount must be a dollar amount. So that's simply saying, it's kind of like saying we don't have X, we don't have Y, but we need to solve for X and Y. It's not possible. Okay, so we need to specify our X. So let's make our premium amount our X. Okay, so now we can solve for our Y, which is our face amount. All right, so we want to go down and specify it. Let's say the father wants to just use $150 a month for premiums. Okay, so we're doing premiums there. From there, let's say he wanted to take out income at age 18 to age 21 for college. We can do a 1-A17, okay? So that's just saying he's paying for 17 years up to age 17. All right, so we've already changed it there. So now we can do solve for income. All right, the solve for income, we want to find the max he can pull out for, let's say, age 18 to age 21. Those are the years he's going to be in college. Let's see what he can get. So from there, that's all we need. And we can go to quick view. All right, great. All right, so we see it. We went over these terms already. We see that $1,800 is going to be funded a year. That's going to buy him a death benefit of $228,000. And we can scroll down. And we see that the max he can take out is $13,000 for 4 years, and the policy will continue to grow. Okay. So we see that it goes all the way to 120. He doesn't have to pay anything at age 120. If he didn't touch it after that, he will have a total death benefit of $37,961 going to his beneficiary. All right. So let's solve for someone in retirement now. Okay, let's say we have a client that's 30 years old and he wants to start solving or saving for retirement. Okay, so we can use the same name. That doesn't matter. We can change it to 30. Let's say he's preferred non-tobacco. He doesn't smoke. He's in pretty good shape. We can change it to preferred non-tobacco. Go death benefit and funding. Again, he's 30 years old. He doesn't care too much about his death benefit. It does concern him a little bit, but not a lot. Okay. But he is at a point in his life where he wants to start saving for income and having something for his retirement. Okay, so we can leave it at increasing. Let's say he wants to pay about $300 a month. Okay, so we do that. And we need to change this from and through. He's going to pay all the way to age 64 because he wants to retire at age 65. So we do 1-A64, and we can scroll down, and we see an X here in the distribution. It's because it's overlapping. You can't show paying premiums and solve for income at the same time. So we need to fix that. We can do a solve for income. We can do a solve for income from age 65 to M. He wants to know what he can get every single year till he dies. Okay? This is great. So we can go to quick view and see what that amount is. We can scroll down. We see, well, first of all, we're not lapsing and we're not mecking. That's a really good thing. We can scroll down. He would get a total of income at $38,000. All right? But how can we make $38,000 more? What can we do differently? We have it on increasing, but we see that the policy, it continuously goes up. We don't want it to go up. So what we want to do is we want it to level it out instead. So instead, we're going to level it out the year after we stop paying premiums. So before it was $38,000 in income. What can we get now? Now we've increased his income to $42,000. Okay. So that's going to be how you maximize your retirement income. Would be minimum death benefit, max cash value. If they don't care about death benefit at all, use the level death benefit or increasing death benefit option. And then you want to level it off the year that they stop paying premiums. All right. And that's for any scenario. If you're doing increasing and they're only paying income or premiums for 20 years, you want to level it off at age 20 or the 21st year. And that's because you don't want it to continuously increase the death benefit, but you're no longer paying premiums. That means the cost of insurance is continuously going up, but you're no longer covering the cost of insurance. There's a question: would it make sense for a parent to take out a policy on a child if they are only paying the target? Does not seem like that would create much cash value if they don't fund it at max. So it still makes sense. They don't have to be max funding it. The client still is going to be getting some kind of cash accumulation. I always say some cash accumulation is better than none. So it still makes sense to do target if they don't want to do max funding, but you're just essentially paying more for coverage, which doesn't really make too much sense on a child unless they do want to be protected somewhat. There was another question: income hypothetical or guaranteed? Any of these income values, when we do quick view, this whole chart, this whole ledger right here is all hypothetical. This is all hypothetical based off of what we're illustrating at. And you can see what we're illustrating at. It's at 6.88%. Okay, you can see that in the interest rates tab. That's not saying I'm not saying the market's going to do 6.88% every year. That's just what we're illustrating at. Again, guys, this is going to be a more interactive type of webinar, just because we're going over how to show distribution. So if you guys have another case that you guys will want to see, we can go into it. How about this? How about I show one that for a child policy that wants to show income for 3 different scenarios. They want to see it for college, they want to see it for a down payment on a house, and they want to see it for retirement. How would we illustrate that? All right, so we're going to do new illustration, Texas, flex type 2. And let's say he's 1 year old. There was a question, how do you do the leveling? Leveling, so if it was increasing, if we had it on increasing, the change year means that we want to level it off. So that means what year do you want to level it off? You can level it off whatever year you want. The client can call in and just request it to level it off, and Enforce will just level it off for you. So there was a question, can we do a 1035 as well, or a term conversion? I mean, you can do 1035s in these, and I'll show you guys how to do a 1035 as well. Term conversion really is just yes or no. It's nothing more than that. All right. So let's start off minimum death benefit max cash value because it's a juvenile. All right. We're going to do monthly, $100 a month. And he wants to see what he can get at college. All right. So we're going to do 1-A17. Okay. And then we can scroll down. We can do solve for income. And then make sure it's age 18 to age 21. And see what that gets us. Okay. So we see that if he's paying $100 a month, he gets this amount of income for college. All right. So now he wants to continue funding and see what he can get for a down payment on a house at age 35. Okay. Let's say, all right. So what we want to do is we can't do 2 solve for incomes in one illustration. So we're going to have to specify the amount in college. So we're going to copy and paste the income for age 18 to age 21. Instead of solve for income here now, we're going to do specify amount. And that amount that we just copied and pasted, we're going to paste it here. All right. And then he's going to continue funding $100, okay, after college. So we can do that. And then after college, so it's going to have to be age 22. Sorry, not 32. Age 22 to age 34 because he wants to pull out income at age 35 for housing for his down payment. So from there, we can see that we're paying after we're pulling out income from college. We can add a row now, and we can solve for income again. Okay, solve for income at age 35 is when he wants to pull out a loan for down payment. Age 35 to age 35 is just a 1-year loan. We're just pulling it out for 1 year. We can go to quick view again and see what that looks like. Okay, so we see that he's still pulling out income for college, the same amount. And now this is the max he can pull out for a down payment on a house. Okay, so now that's great. So he can pull out almost $35,000 for a down payment. All right. So let's see what he wants to do that, but he also wants to see what income he can get for retirement. Okay. So now we're going to do the exact same thing as we did before. We're going to copy and paste the 34,000 because we can't have 2 solve for incomes in one illustration. So we copy and paste that 34,000. We can go down. Instead of solve for income here, we can specify it again because we just copied it. And we can just paste it right there. All right. And now he wants to continue funding his life policy after he pulled out income or after he pulled out money for his down payment. So let's say now he pulled out money and now he put down a down payment on the house. Now he wants to fund even more money into it, more than $100 because now he has to catch up for retirement. So let's say $300, okay? $300 just to catch up for retirement. And it's going to be showing from age 36 to age, let's say retirement at age 65. So we want to level it up, or we want to stop paying at age 64. Okay. And what do we want to do? We want to level this off. We're no longer paying premiums into this policy. So finally, we want to level off. Instead of doing increasing, we want to do level. So what we want to do is change year A65. Okay. So we now finally leveled it off. And now we can add another row. All right. Now we're going to solve for income for retirement. All we have to do now is solve for income and change the from and through from A65 to M. Okay. So now that's great. Now we can go to the policy, the quick view, and see what it looks like. Okay, so now we're showing a lapse, actually. So let's make this a little smaller so it does not lapse. It does that every now and then. Let's just change it from 54 to 45. Let's see what that does. It's still lapsing. Let's just leave this at 100 because it's lapsing because the death benefit went up because we're assuming that we're paying $100 or $300 into it. All right, so let's leave that at 100 and see what that gets us. We see that death benefit drop now. All right, great. All right, so if we didn't increase the premiums, he's just doing 100 later on. He's going to continue doing $100 for about 30 years, and then we could see that he's going to retire with about $53,000 for the rest of his life. Okay. So throughout this whole process, he was able to pull out about $7,000, $8,000 a year for college. He was able to pull out almost $35,000 for a down payment on a house. And then he continues paying premiums. And then we could see that he's getting an income of about $53,000 for the rest of his life. That's a great policy, right? Like, I would love to start that for my own child when I do. All right. So there was a question on how we can show 1035 as well. So I can show you how to do that. All right. So let's clear everything out and just show you how to do a 1035. So we can clear this. We can clear this. All right. And let's just say that they want a death benefit of $400,000. And we actually do have to change the age of the client because it's very unlikely that a 1-year-old is going to have a 1035. So let's change that to like a 25-year-old. Okay. So a 25-year-old wants $400,000 in coverage. He wants to pay. Oh, all right. And let's just leave it at level to make it simple. And then he's just paying target. He just wants to pay target. But then, it's just an X there. All right, so let's show 1035. So what we want to do is this 1035 part right here. We can do an external or internal. External simply means is it coming from a different company, life insurance company. If internal, it's coming from us. So let's say external. Exchange amount, let's say Andy had about $12,534 as a 1035 amount that could be rolled over. Okay. There's going to be questions here like, is the existing contract, the existing policy that we're rolling over from, is it a MEC? If it is a MEC, we can't escape a MEC. So if you've MEC'd a policy before, just because you do a 1035, it's still going to carry over that MEC. So there's just no way to escape a MEC. Okay. So what we want to do is, if it does have a MEC, you would check that there. If you want the first year's premiums to be deducted, and you just want the 1035 to cover the cost of the premiums for the first year, you would do this button right here. All right. And if there were any existing loans on the 1035, you would put it here because that would carry over as well. All right. So we have the 1035 amount there, and we can go to quick view now. Here we see, all right, so we see that target premium is $2,636. He's paying target all the way up to age or year 8, and then we see it drop. right? We see it drop because of this guideline single premium. Again, you can't pay more than this in the first 10, 11 years. Okay, so that we see that the software is solving for a max that you guys can put in without having it become a mech. All right, and that 1035 is going to be that $12,534 plus the 2636. All right. Other than that, guys, that's all for this webinar. If you guys have any questions, I'm going to stay on here for a few more minutes just to answer any questions. And it could be any questions regarding the illustration software. I want to thank you guys again for attending this webinar. Hopefully you guys have a more deeper understanding. That way when you guys go out in the field and you guys are talking with your clients, you guys can explain exactly what each term is. If you guys have any questions, again, just call the sales desk at 1-800-906-3310. Again, it's 1-800-906-3310. Okay, so there was a question. What options do we have in reports? There's different options that we can include. All right. These right here, these are always going to be automatically included. You can't show benefit summary analysis if you're showing income. Okay, so this is always going to be grayed out if you're trying to show income, so we won't be able to. Statutory or premiums information, you could show it there on the report. You can show the charges and expenses. So really what the fees and where their money is going, what the cost of insurance is, you can show it there. And then you can show the internal rate of return on their premiums, and the client can see what's the rate of return on their premiums. That's a report that you could add to the final report. Again, those are just extra reports that I would not add unless the client was specifically asking for it. Because if you guys add these and the client wasn't asking for it, you could deter a sale, especially the policy charges and expenses. They're going to see it and be like, oh, that's a lot of fees. I didn't expect to pay that many fees. Really, at the end of the day, the client only cares about the cash accumulation and what value they have at retirement. All right, there's a question. Can you smooth out the 1035 payments to make them uniform? I'm not really sure what that means. The 1035 amount is really just whatever you're transferring over from the other policy. Okay. There was a question on the sales concept. How do you use education funding? Again, I don't use that. I wouldn't suggest using that. It's better. It doesn't show very good returns for education funding. You're better off just doing exactly what I showed you here today, was solving for income while they're in college. And you can do that simply just by manual, just solve for income age 18 to age 21. So they were asking, there was a question on the child example that we ran. Do they have to decide to do college funding and loans at the time of application? No. Again, this is just strictly illustration purposes. Just something that you can have in front of your client and show them exactly what we expect the policy to perform like. But again, those numbers aren't set in stone, so it's not locked in. The client still has to call in and request a loan at the time of whenever they want a loan. Again, same thing with increasing to level. The client has to call in to level it off. Even though we showed it leveling up on the illustration, that doesn't mean anything. The client still needs to pay or level off or call in to level it off. Okay, there was a question showing the 7-pay premium. 7-pay premium, even if we were to illustrate with a 7-pay premium all the way through to maturity, it's not just going to show 7-pay. Okay, so if we did 7-pay, we're doing all the way to maturity, it's going to show the max you can put in at the beginning years, and then it's just going to show you what the max you can put in after that, okay, to keep the policy in force. I never really use a 7-pay premium. It's very confusing to your client. Just the word 7-pay, they expect it to be paid up in 7 years, and that's not the case. Can you structure the 1035 so that the yearly premiums are all the same while still not violating? You could do it that way. If you wanted to do that, let's look at it. All right. So we can do target premium 1035. Let's say we use the same 1035 amount. The only way to structure that to keep the premiums still the same without violating it, if we go to quick view, this is the same example that we did before. We see that it minimizes those premiums later on. What you want to do is just increase that face amount. So maybe we can increase it to 450,000 and it'll get that full premium in there without violating it. No, so we still see it's still violating, so we have to increase it a little bit. So let's do 600,000. See, so now we're slowly getting to that number to where it doesn't change, but we still need to increase it a little more out. Again, you're just gonna have to manually play with the software if this is a scenario that you would like. We're getting close. We're getting there. We just gotta keep going. Maybe $700,000 is the magic number. Getting there. Let's do 800,000. So we're slowly getting there. We see that it's not changing as much, but we do see that one single year it's a little less. There was a question, if you're doing an external 1035, but the surrender charge is higher than the cash value, would any money be transferred? So that's a great question, Mohammed. So when you're doing a 1035, you're carrying over whatever that cash value is, and that typically is whatever the surrender value is. So your cash value, if we were to look at this illustration, hold on guys, I don't know what just happened. Okay, so if you were to look at this illustration, the surrender value right here, the surrender value is what your cash value is, okay? So whatever that cash value is what's going to be the 1035 amount coming over. Oh, you guys lost the screen? Okay, sorry guys. Here you go. Okay, there you go. All right. Thank you for letting me know that. Okay, so let me show you that again. So whatever the surrender value is right here, that surrender value column. Surrender value is simply just your cash value. So whatever this amount is, if you're rolling it over, it would be just whatever this amount is minus any loans that you've already taken out on it. So Tiffany asked, if there's a 12-year-old boy has a $50,000 policy with cash value of approximately $6,000 to $7,000, can he do a 1035 exchange for a higher amount? So when you're doing a 1035 exchange, all you're simply doing is calling up the previous company and asking, hey, what is the amount in my policy? What is the value of my policy that I can roll over or transfer over? And that's it. You can't do any more than that. It's just whatever you have in the previous policy. So we don't have a recording of this specific session, Mark, but we do have advanced illustration training videos that I could send out to everyone that has attended this webinar. Again, guys, I'll be on here for maybe about 5 to 10 more minutes answering any questions. So if you guys have any, just let me know. There was a question, when will there be another one just like this? I'm not too sure. If you guys check the webinar calendar, that webinar calendar online is always up to date. So just keep checking that. And we do have webinars every day. So we might not go over the topic that you're looking for, but every day just check the webinar calendar. If you guys want to be more informed, just check that webinar. We have great topics. It's not just over the illustration software, because the illustration software is great, but it's also great to know how to attack each market as well. There's a question, would you be able to roll over and get a higher face amount? That's possible. All you have to do is apply for a higher face amount and just pay the remaining premiums if your 1035 is not sufficient enough. There is no archives for recorded webinars. We don't record our webinars, unfortunately, because of compliance issues. But we do have recorded training videos. And we do send out emails of new training videos that are recorded available for agents. So just keep an eye out in your email. There are always new recording trainings that are available. Unfortunately, there is no PowerPoint on this training video. It's just the software that was used. Tiffany, if you need an illustration for those examples, just call into the sales desk. Someone on the sales desk would be more than happy to sit down and talk to you about the different types of cases that we could design for your client. And then we can also send an illustration to you as well, because we do have an illustration team, an illustration specialist team that do just run illustrations and design policies the way you would like. So just give us a call at 1-800-906-3310, and we'll be more than happy to speak with you. Again, guys, surrender value is the cash value, okay? The surrender value is what your client has access to. If you take a look here, you see the accumulated value and you see the surrender value. Simply, the surrender value is what your client has access to. So in year 4, the client can reach into his own policy and get $19,000 out of it. How can I be contacted? Just call into the sales desk. If you guys want to speak with me personally, you can always just ask for Dustin, and someone on the sales desk will be able to forward you to me, and I'll be more than happy to speak with you guys as well. All right, guys, I want to say thank you again for attending this webinar. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. If you guys are up north or anywhere that's cold, stay warm. All right, guys? All right, you guys have a great day.